everybody, and welcome to October 11th edition of Nutrition 101. I am here with Rachel Matthews. Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
And we are continuing our conversation about Michael Pollan's food rules. And I believe we are on chapter 17. It was so fun to have Alicia last month, or actually not last month, last week, medical student who rotated through with us. Before we move on, I was so impressed with her knowledge of nutrition and just the way she practices what she preaches. And wow. Yeah. So if I took care of myself the way some of these medical students are taking care of themselves, that rotate through their lifestyle medicine, they take that lifestyle medicine curriculum track in their medical school. It's pretty cool. It wasn't around when I was going through. But anyway, shout out to Alicia.
It is really cool. And I want to piggyback on what you're saying right there, because for patients who are looking for primary care physicians, we want to be empowered to know that there are becoming more and more physicians out there who have had this lifestyle medicine track, or who are focusing on nutrition way more than ever. It's not easy always to find a doctor who is going to align with your belief of treating your body with nutrition, right? And your lifestyle as your primary source of medicine, and then trying to go from there. So I love that. She's going to be launched into the world as a physician. I'm not sure if she's going to be, family or what, but she'll be out there, and that's just so great to know that she'll be taking what she knows personally and medically and serving her patients with both of those pieces of knowledge.
All right. I love it. I love it that there's, that we really are kind of making old things new again, that food is medicine, movement is medicine, sleep is medicine, managing stress really helps you. Really 80% of the chronic medical conditions that we see on a day-to-day basis in primary care, 80% is related to our lifestyle. So if we can empower people, and that's what we're trying to do, empower people to, with knowledge and then with skills, right? To really take back their health and get excited about how powerful these things are in their lives to improve health.
Yeah. I love that power. It's that they have the power, right? The patient, the person has the power to make huge change in their lives.
Right. It's so cool. Yeah. We see it every day. It's so cool. All right. So, Rachel, tell us about chapter 17.
Okay. Chapter 17, eat only foods that have been cooked by humans. And there are, we're kind of going to actually go through from 17 to 21, because there's the rest of those following chapters kind of fall under this headline.
Yeah, very good. So eat only foods that have been cooked by humans. Right. Versus what? I mean, what foods aren't cooked by humans?
Yeah, I mean, there's manufactured plants like cereals, that's the first thing that came to mind. That's not made by people. It's made by robots and
machines, right? Yeah, factories, machines. That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of the processed foods fall into that category, right? Well, candy, any kind of cupcake that you buy in a Twinkie, anything that you buy in a package, all of that falls into, food's really not made by humans. I mean, you can YouTube any packaged food, and it shows these big stainless steel metal machinery that are huge, big pots that are mixing things and different, mostly chemicals, and then at the end of the line out pops this packaged food-like substance, right?
Right.
Yeah. So and that's not made by human. So his point is eat food that have been eats foods that have been cooked by humans, and hopefully that human is you, right?
Yes.
Hopefully that human is you, and that human is you at home enjoying that preparation process, because that can be totally a part of how your body prepares to absorb nutrients. Kind of getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, food prepared by humans, and hopefully that human is you.
Yes, or loved ones.
Yeah, or loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah. You bring up a great point that I think we forget this, that we don't have in our cupboards, in our pantries, the types of chemicals and products that are being put in food everywhere else. And that this includes restaurants, right? This includes even where actual humans are kind of preparing the food. Restaurants, even the fanciest of restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
right? All the way down to the quick fast food. The products that even if they're cooking with some real foods, the things that they add to your food are chemicals and substances that none of us are cooking with. Not one of us has it in our pantry. We wouldn't even know how to find it. We wouldn't even know how to add it. So even if you were eating foods that were prepared by you, maybe they weren't the healthiest of options. I promise they're not going to have the stuff that restaurants and packaged foods have in them, because we don't even have access to these are chemicals, right, that have been designed. So I think it's a great point that he brings up about with humans. If a human made it, let's say at a restaurant, chances are it is loaded with salt, oil, and sugar beyond measure. I've worked in a restaurant chain before. I'm sure a lot of people watching have. And you think back to the restaurants you've worked at, and think back about the vats of oil, or the giant things of salt, or MSG, or just the flavorings and things that they would add, because the food needs to be so flavorful that you crave it, that you want to keep coming back. It needs to kind of hit that wow in your taste buds, right?
Right. Yeah, that reminds me, when I was a kid in high school, and then I think my first year in college, I worked in a Greasy Spoon. I worked in a restaurant. I was a waitress in a restaurant. This was at a truck stop, but actually it was so it was a local truck stop, and the food was actually pretty good. One summer, actually, I worked as a waitress. My brother was a cook, or a prep cook. And then I had another brother on the gas pump. So there were three of us.
Wow. That's fun.
Yeah. But to your point, Rachel, yeah, they were, vats of oil. And I bet at the time, if I were a betting woman, I would bet that would have been canola oil, or so one of those high omega-6 oils that are very pro-inflammatory. Yeah. So, but the food was pretty good. It was really tasty, and it was prepared by humans. But yeah. So we got to be careful.
One of the things you mentioned before, as we were talking about this before we went live, is canned goods.
Oh, right.
So what did you want to say about canned goods? That's
right. Yeah. Well, we're kind of going ahead, but we'll circle back. But in it said if it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. So I was thinking about, frozen foods and canned, vegetables. I'm thinking about, the canned food companies that are right down the road here. Those are plants, but those are those are okay to eat. Sometimes we want to stick to the lower sodium ones, but with the frozen vegetables, those are good. So I think there are reasonable exceptions to his rules. These are general rules. There are reasonable exceptions. And so canned goods and canned vegetables are particularly are okay.
Yeah. And I to your point about the salt, if it's canned, choosing low sodium whenever possible, because even if you don't really have a salt problem, or you don't have a medical diagnosis, the amount of salt in these things is out of control, right? It's not your standard little shaky of salt on your table.
Yeah.
This is a mass amount of salt. Also, keep in mind, guys, that with canned vegetables and frozen bagged vegetables and frozen, not so much frozen fruit, but the vegetables, sometimes it looks as though it's just a regular old bag of frozen mixed vegetables from Green Giant. And if you look closely, they've added oils and they've added some flavors that are chemicals, right? Because it's like a steam in the bag. You just pop it in the microwave and go. You got to be really careful. It looks like it's just vegetables, but they're not. So we do have to be a little savvy and still read the labels, even on frozen vegetables, or even like canned and jarred vegetables. We were talking about this. I think it was a tomato sauce or something.
Right.
And sure enough, like high fructose corn syrup was one of the, and it looks like it's just tomato sauce.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we want to keep these rules in mind. And one of them was reading the ingredient label and the nutrition label, but also the ingredients beneath the nutrition label. So yeah, we want to keep that rule in mind for sure, because yeah, you're right. They sneak that high fructose corn syrup in there, or a little soybean oil, or a little MSG, or, all those things. So yeah. So I'm going to circle back to 17 then. It says eat only foods. Oh, no, I mean, not 17, 18. Don't ingest foods made in places where everyone is required to wear a surgical cap. Yeah. And this kind of reminded me, I think the first time, well, okay, maybe not the first time, but when I was in kindergarten, first grade, we always went to a field trip once a year. It was to the Archway Cookie Company. And Archway was a very famous brand of cookies back where I grew up in Ohio. And we had the plant right there in Ashland, Ohio. And we could, all the school age kids went on field trips through there. And I remember seeing, probably for the first time, someone wear a surgical cap. So, yeah, it's not to say you can't eat cookies. Yeah, I have a cookie every once in a while. But yeah, his point is, if you're wearing surgical caps, yeah, it's a processed food.
It's a processed food. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. We did number 19 about if it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't.
Right.
And then 20. Go ahead. Okay. It's not food if it arrived through the window of your car.
When's the last time you had food arriving through the window of your car?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Every time sometimes I feel so redundant and like I'm beating a dead horse or, broken record kind of a thing. But then I drive down Commercial and I see a line of cars in the drive-through. And I said, no, I still have work to do.
Right. This is still mainstream common practice. This is where we get our breakfast. This is where we get our lunch. So some people hit fast food or drive through several times a day. Sometimes it's once a day, but it's every day, right? And it's everywhere. Now, we were talking about this. There's some exceptions to this rule. And there are many fast food restaurants now that have great salads. So you could go to Subway, for instance. Some of the Subways have drive-thrus now, and you can order an incredible chopped salad. And you can make sure that there's none of the other stuff on it, right? And maybe just an oil and vinegar dressing, maybe just avocado as your dressing, but you really can order a delicious, beautiful salad, and it's not going to be processed, and it's healthy, and it's going to come through a window. So we were talking about, like, we can use some reasoning and some logic here to kind of apply this. Not everything you buy out of a window to drive through is necessarily bad. They are offering some better options now. But again, you have to be savvy.
That's exactly right. You have to be savvy. Right. You have to be mindful, right?
Mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So number 21, if it's not food if it's called by the same name in every language. And he says, think Big Mac, Cheetos, Pringles. And I love what you were saying. Rachel, tell us what you were saying before.
Yeah, you probably have seen this or heard this before, where you're listening to someone talking on a TV or radio or a commercial or you in real life, and you overhear people speaking in another language, and you maybe don't understand anything they're saying, but then all of a sudden you hear McDonald's or Big Mac or Cheeto, and you're like, they're talking about, right? Because they don't have a word for that, because the word is the product. That's all it is. So, and I remember being in Italy and hearing this, like they're going, and I can only pick up little tiny bits here and there of Italian, but they're going along, and then you'd hear them say something like Coca-Cola, right? And it's just the word Coca-Cola. There's no special word for Coca-Cola. So that's a cue that these words are all marketed products that have that's the word. 'Cause it's not a food, right? A tomato is a different word in every language.
Yeah, right.
Because it's real food, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So foods prepared by humans. And circling back, just thinking that hopefully that human is you or someone in your family, and you're preparing foods at home more often than not. And we're always moving. We want to move in a forward. We don't have to. If you were a person getting food out several times a week, even cutting back on that a little bit is going to help you. Yeah, and then engaging more of your family members in the food prep process can be fun and very enjoy. Having other people try to do some of this meal preparation or planning. Division of labor.
Yeah.
What did my mom always say? She said, "Many hands make light work." Right?
Yes.
So yeah, bringing in your family so that the food prep, unless you absolutely love it, doesn't always fall to one person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, Rachel. Well, coming to the end of our time here, tell us what you have in mind for dinner tonight.
Okay. So I did a ton of food prep yesterday. Roasted some spaghetti squash, some delicata squash, some butternut squash.
Wow.
I know. I was kind of a little bit of a maniac.
Now, I didn't. What is that middle squash that you said? I don't even recognize that one.
It's my new favorite, delicata.
Ooh.
So it looks like delicate. They're like sort of the shape of a cucumber, maybe, but they're yellow and orange, and they're ridgy.
Oh,
so they're long,
okay.
They're long and kind of narrow like a cucumber or like a zucchini, but they're bumpy all the way around. They're almost like scalloped. They are so good. It's a whole nother thing. And you just, you chop it in half, scoop out the seeds down the middle, and cut them in little half moons, and you eat the whole thing. So the skin and everything, you don't have to peel the skin off like with a lot of squash. So I meal prep this, and it's in my fridge now. I can add these things to any dish I'm making all week. I like to have things ready to go that I toss this in.
That's awesome.
The biggest thing is I made my gut biome miso soup broth. So good. And I'm excited to have that tonight with just a bunch of tofu and fresh scallions and mushrooms, and then serve it over a bed of kale.
Wow.
Yes, I'm excited about that one.
That sounds great. All right. Well, mine's not so exciting. We did a lot of food prep because we had our grandkids over this weekend. So we had to think, what would grandchildren like? But we made a big pot of tomato sauce and so we have that left over. And so I am going to add some zucchini to that to increase that's all our sauce always has carrots, onions, and celery in it, and then the tomato. But now I'm going to improve upon that and add that zucchini, which is still very plentiful right now in most gardens. And that'll round that out. I wonder, what would a delicata be good in there too?
Yes.
Yeah. I might have to. Yeah, I might have to throw that in. Yeah.
Mix it up.
And I actually, instead of I have some leftover cauliflower that I was riced, and so I usually serve my sauce over my cauliflower rice.
Yeah.
And I'll probably put a little grass-fed beef in there. It's so funny because grandkids are a little picky, but they're so great to have around. So we kind of cater to them just a little bit, but they eat what the family's eating.
Yeah.
Because I made some noodles for them. But I had the zoodles for me, and now I think I'm going to chunk up the rest of that zucchini and put it actually inside the sauce. So anyway, so leftovers, I love them.
I love it. Yeah. And then you kind of beef it up, so to speak, right? It's like you take leftover, which is maybe not enough to make a full meal. And then you just kind of add a bunch of stuff. I love that. So it's kind of like a different meal, but you're not making the whole thing over again. And
exactly. Really well. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Rachel, and out there, thank you. And hopefully you're going to have a great rest of your day. It's a beautiful day today, but until next time. All right.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.